the world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. That was one of the two quotes I had. But we read that one first because it's short and sweet. Friends, grasshoppers, this is the Formless Podcast, episode 102, with Tyler, the superhuman, and me, Dustin. How goes it this morning?
Oh, it's going good. We just had a nice karate class taught by you, and that was a good workout on a lot of those exercises we were doing. You know, getting off the line, moving off the angle. You know, that was funny. That was a full body workout. Yeah, like engaging muscles that like you don't always do. You know, a lot of times there's a bit of standing around while you're waiting for the drill or the instruction and stuff. And that one was like, okay, we're going to move, you know? So that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. And hopefully more to come from that, because I want to go further down that road a little bit. That the angling, the deception part of that whole thought process, you know, just like play a little bit more with that. Yeah, it was good. It was faking out a kick to a punch, faking out a kick low, dropping their guard, and then you hit them when their hands drop. Yeah, like with a punch. Yeah, and so that was a good drill. I haven't done that one in a while. No. And just the angling thing with the quick close and that sort of stuff. Just fun stuff. Just fun. It moves the whole body. It does. You don't just like throw 1,000 kicks or 1,000 punches. It's like, we're going to do this and this, you know, little spice on top of that, you know? Yeah. So the quote. Yeah. I had two, and because I wanted to get back on track, and we didn't have a good quote. Well, we didn't have a quote a couple episodes back. We just went like right into it. Right. And so I was like, okay, I got to get back on that, because that's one of the fun things that I like to do, is have an interesting quote and stuff. And so I had this one that I got from a book that I recently started rereading again. And I was like, that's interesting, but it pertained to cooking. And then it didn't really, like when I read it the first time, you know how when like you see a movie or you hear a song or something on the radio and you're like, oh, that's really good. Yeah. And then like you hear it again later, and that spark or the sheen, the sparkle is gone. You're like, the surprise, like it's all, okay, it's done. You know, I didn't really feel that the next time I read it. When I read it the first time, I'm like, I got to write that down because it's really good. And I just didn't get that same excitement from it. So then I had this other one, the one I read this today. And it was good, but I don't know. Tell me what you think here. I'll read it again. The key in a restaurant, and the key in any kind of high pressure situation, I think, is that 75% of success is staying calm and not losing your nerve. The rest you figure out. But once you lose your calm, everything else starts falling apart fast. And I get it. I mean, I agree with it. I don't disagree with it. That's why I wrote it down originally. But it was like, oh, yeah, that's really good. And I don't know I can't remember what I was thinking about when I first read it. But generally, it usually goes along with what I'm thinking, or like what I'm planning for a lesson, or what I want to, like topics I want to talk about, or something to that effect. And I didn't write down that part. I wrote down the quote. So whatever it was is now, you know, gone to the ether. But no, I think staying calm under pressure is one of those things that are often overlooked, but pretty critical. Pretty critical, yeah. You know, like a medic just going to work. Like if something happens and they just spring into action and do the thing, you know. That I've always been like, oh, that's admirable.
They just, almost like a machine. They just go into doing whatever it is that's done, that needs to be done.
That needs to be done. You're talking like a paramedic?
Well, anybody in like a situation where most people are freaking out.
Like, they're bleeding. Oh my gosh.
I was at a funeral one time. And my joke is that I've saved somebody's life at a funeral. It was a wake kind of situation.
Okay.
So we're having this big barbecue. There's a ton of people around, and everybody's talking. And like, that's the old saying about the friends you see that you see few and far between. You usually see them at weddings or funerals.
Right.
This was that kind of situation. There was a bunch of people that hadn't seen each other for a very long time. And so they're all together and they're having this funeral or this wake kind of situation. And we're eating, catching up. And across the yard, there's commotion going on. But I'm kind of engrossed in this conversation I'm having with this person that I hadn't talked to in like 20 years. And in that time, I graduated high school, flunked out of college, got married, had a kid, had a good job. There's a lot to catch up on. And I'm kind of weird where like I can have a conversation with you, but still be like aware of what's going on the other side of the room. And so I'm kind of like listening to this conversation that I'm having, but I'm kind of like paying attention to what's going on over here. And all of a sudden, I kind of realize like, hey, something ain't right over there. And I look over and this lady's turning colors. She's choking on whatever she was eating. She's choking. And she's doing the whole universal, like, I'm choking sign. And there's a lady behind her beating the crap out of her back, like trying to smack it out,
Okay,
like,
at least she's trying to do something.
She's trying to do something.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, good. Somebody's taking care of it. And it's going on and on. And this happened all like in a split second. But it seemed like, time slows down kind of thing. It seemed like it was going on for an hour. But she's pounding on this lady's back, and she's to the point now, she's this short little thing. She's to the point now where she's jumping into the air and like slamming this gal in the back with her open palm trying to do this. And I remember thinking like, at this point, like more and more people are starting to pay attention. And I thought two things. Like the first one was like, oh, somebody's going to go help this lady. And the second thing I thought of was like, that ain't the way you're supposed to help somebody who's choking. Like, you should do the Heimlich. So I got up, and this conversation never stopped going. It was still going, and I'm like, yeah, hold on. And I walked over, and I'm still thinking, like, this lady's still hitting this gal in the back. And that's the wrong way to do things. So I just walked over, I pushed her out of the way, and grabbed this lady around the waist and do the Heimlich, and got her to quit choking. Like she spit up whatever, she like vomited up whatever she was choking on. But she was a goner. And afterwards, everything calmed down. She's fine. She gets some air and could breathe. And, we carried on with the rest of the evening. And a couple of people had come up to me and were like, hey, that was really neat that you did that. How did you stay so calm? And I'm like, honestly, I was more alarmed. Like, I wasn't freaked out. I was more alarmed that I'm like, she's doing that wrong. She needs to do the Heimlich maneuver, not just like smack this poor gal on the back. She's going to knock her out, But had I been right there, like standing next to her when that happened, I probably would have freaked out like everybody else. But yeah, I was that's just the one thing I remember about staying calm. So I was like, share that story.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, I just remember thinking like, that ain't right. And I wonder, like, for people that do that, like for a living, like a paramedic or somebody that's like an infantryman, when they're seeing chaos all the time, I wonder if their brain just goes like, oh, that's not the way to do things. And then they take care of whatever it is that's going wrong.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I dated a girl and she was an ER room nurse. And
yeah. That's a high stress situation.
So she would say the same thing. Like she said, the job of being in the ER room and people just coming in and there's chaos and just everyone's freaking out. And she's like, it's been really good for me to learn to stay calm and just like when everyone else is freaking out and you just know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wild.
Did you ever learn to did you just learn the Heimlich off watching a movie, or did you somebody ever show you how to do it?
I had never practiced the Heimlich. I had taken some basic first aid courses. I don't know, in middle school or something. There was some thing that we had to do, and I had to learn CPR. I did get certified later, but we had to learn CPR, the Heimlich maneuver, and how to apply a tourniquet, and a couple of other things that I probably couldn't even tell you or do.
Yeah,
but we never really practiced it. We got as close as we got is we got a partner and we put our arms around their waist, where the correct position and how to hold your hands.
Yeah.
Nothing else. We didn't even go through the motion of doing the actual thing. And the only thing I remember is the instructor or the teacher of the course was be careful because you could break their ribs, the floating rib down there.
Yeah.
If you squeeze too hard. And I remember thinking as I did it, because it took 3 or 4 times to do it, it's oh, don't break. I hope I don't break this poor lady's ribs. But then again, I hope she lives,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my joke or story to tell at cocktail parties, I guess. If I ever go to cocktail parties, I save somebody at a funeral.
How old was the lady you did the Heimlich on?
Oh, she was old enough to be my mom.
Okay, so gotcha.
Yeah. It's kind of a long story. It was the funeral we were at was an old boss of my dad's who was a close family friend, and my dad kind of looked after him or looked to him like a father, because he had kind of a estranged relationship with his own dad. And so him and his wife became kind of surrogate grandparents to my dad's kids, my brothers and sisters and myself. And then we went fishing together and hunting and did things and stuff. And so this was his oldest son's wife, I believe. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it was a good time. It was crazy. But
I've noticed that as I've gotten older, and you really see when you're in situations and how people react. Mm-hmm. And I definitely and a lot of times people will react to the people will react to the smallest things in the biggest way. You know?
mean being a Karen?
Yeah.
My kids use that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to be a Karen now?
But
no offense to the Karens out there, but
like something like what you did.
Yeah.
Doing the Heimlich on that person, staying cool, and that is a life or death situation.
Well, yeah.
And you were able to stay cool. So that's cool. That's great in that situation. But I spilled my drink. Oh, you spilled your drink at the table. Oh my gosh. And people start freaking out over the littlest things, and that's just
stupid stuff.
Stupid. Yeah. And I don't even know where, is that when you see people react to the smallest things like that, is that lack of exposure? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel today's society, we're just,
They're a lot more underexposed to things.
Yeah. Like we put so much more emphasis on like, oh, you've been wronged, than like, hey, did you eat dinner today? You know what I mean? Like all of our basic needs are met. We have entertainment at our fingertips. You know what I mean? Like we're just shallow. And like we put the emphasis on the wrong thing so much that like I think we've lost sight of what a real actual wrong is sometimes. And so like,
oh, that's good.
Yeah. Like, oh, well, you hurt my feelings, or you made me triggered by just weak stuff and
weak sauce.
Yeah. Not to say that there aren't some real wrongs in the world or real wrongdoings or real actual triggerings, but I just think that we've lost that emotional stability.
Yes.
And it's a shame because life's pretty dang good. And, I don't know about you, but I have a bed and a pillow and I got food. Like I ate dinner last night,
Hot shower.
I mean, I showered in the dark because we don't have any power right now, but like I'm not going to go like throw a rock at a PG&E truck because they shut the power off.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd kind of like to, because I'm irritated and inconvenienced, and the child in me wants to like vandalize things. But the adult in me is like, that's still pretty dang good. Like I got a generator. I'm all right. I can, my food's not going to go bad. So, but my basic needs are met. Like I'm pretty dang good. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not working in a salt mine. I'm not like in digging up blood diamonds in South Africa. It could be a lot worse. I could be in a lithium mine, coughing up a lung. Hey, Tyler, another 15-hour day again. You know what I mean? Like my perspective right now is in focus.
Uh-huh.
So I'm in a good shape mentally, but I think there have been times when I've been upset by stuff that's like tiddlywinks. It's like, come on, grow up. And I think it's too easy for people nowadays to just get super upset about stupid stuff.
My Uber Eats was 10 minutes late. Like,
yeah, my Big Mac isn't warm. Whatever. 10 years ago, well, probably more like 20 years ago, you'd had to get in the car and drive down to McDonald's.
I went to Taco Bell the other day, actually the other night.
Yeah.
And the one here in Anderson that's open 24 hours a day.
It's open 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Or at least it used to be. I think it still is. But I went there and I pulled up at the drive up, and it was an automated person talking to me.
Oh, through
the
intercom?
Through the intercom to like, hi, what can I take for you today? And I ordered I looked at the menu and I was like, oh, that like one of those box things where you get like a burrito and a taco. And I was like, oh, that looks good. And I ordered it. It was like a $9 box. And then I was like, you know what? I think I just want like a bean burrito. Like that's
keep it simple.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, you know what? Take away that $9 box. And the automated person goes, okay, do you want another one of those? And they added one. And I was like, no. Take away that box. They're like, okay, we'll take it off. And they take it off. And I'm like, now take the first box off.
So you're like arguing with GPT.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then it took that one off, and but I gotta admit it was kind of efficient and pretty polite, and I was like, make my bean burrito fresco style. That's like no dairy. I'm not a dairy person.
Yeah.
If you say that at Taco Bell, it'd make it fresco style. Like it takes
No
all
cheese,
the dairy,
no
all the
sour
dairy,
cream.
yeah, any dairy that's in it, like any sauces, sour cream, cheese, takes it out, and then it'll add in like onions and tomatoes.
Oh.
So fresco, I guess.
Oh. Nice things I didn't know.
Yeah. So and it was like, okay. And then it added in fresco, and it was, but anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. It was connected to how easy we have it in life.
Well, you could have easily gotten pissed off that the fact that the machine didn't do what you wanted it to do.
Yeah. Step out of my Jeep and, roundhouse kick the friggin' the sign.
The sign. Yeah.
I'll teach you to give me another $9 box.
Yeah. Well, there's tons of videos on YouTube and Twitter and where else of people flipping out in the drive-thru. You can watch people, annihilate the drive-thru menu. But yeah, I think it's interesting though. Fresco style. I'm gonna have to try that.
Fresco style.
Yeah.
So if anybody goes to Taco Bell and you don't want any dairy, just say fresco style. I'll take a bean burrito fresco style.
All right, Taco Bell.
That was the first time I'd been to Taco Bell in like I'm talking like 4 or 5 years.
No kidding.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and I was just like, I don't eat fast food very much anymore. And that night
That
I
was like, I'm gonna have that.
I'm gonna have a bean burrito. And it was pretty good.
So Taco Bell, you can send the checks for advertising to P.O. Box 617, Shasta, California 96087. But anyway, back to the getting like freaking out over stupid stuff.
Sorry, I got
No. That's great. I love it. That's the whole point. We're formless. But there's I can remember his first name, and I believe his last name is Younger. But there's this book that I wrote. I didn't write it. I read. It's called Tribes, and it has to do with like psychology of groups and thinking of individuals and stuff. But he argues that like we are tribe-like peoples, and so like we generally congregate with people of like-mindedness, and that two things that are really interesting in that is he goes through historic data, and he talks about in times of trouble, like during World War II, during like the Great Depression, during 9/11, these terrible events that happened, and the immediate after effect of it, typically rates of alcoholism, drug abuse, suicide, those kinds of things drop for a period of time, and then they go back up as the things ebb and flow. But like immediately after 9/11, and he has all this data on it, and it's really interesting. It drops, and then it slowly kind of creeps back in as things like calm down. But he argues that the thought that he argues is that there's such an immediate thing that's going on that like acquires everybody's attention. Like our focus is on getting those people out of those buildings that collapsed, and then it's like, okay, who did this? And like, let's go figure out how to get after it, And so you're not bored. Your focus is on something tangible, some real traumatic effect. And then as things like during periods of what he called like inactivity, where like there's not like something terrible that has happened, like we essentially get lazy. And we allow things to like distract us.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just thought that was really, really cool. Really interesting thought. And it's been a while since I read the book. It's probably been 10 or 15 years since I've read that.
Tribes?
Book. It's called Tribes.
By who?
I think it's Sebastian Junger.
Okay.
It's Yunger, I think. Anyway, I'll have to look that up and make sure. But it's pretty worthwhile read. I believe he's like a Vietnam vet. And I saw him in a real long interview where he talked about the book and like kind of why he wrote it and stuff. And it was really good. I had to go out and get it. If I still have a copy of it floating around, I'll loan it to you.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really cool. He's got some really good ideas about things.
I remember hearing during COVID, the height of COVID, that people were being, having to stay at home and not go to work, and that alcoholism and like
drug abuse
skyrocketed during that time.
Lots of overdoses and accidental deaths and stuff like that because of that. Well, yeah, you're cooped up in your house. You weren't supposed to go see anybody.
Right. I mean, so there's that aspect too.
Yeah.
But I mean, part of it too was like, well, you just get up in the morning, you don't have anything to do. You don't have a job to go to. You don't have a mission, a goal.
And that was one of the other things. He's like, we need missions. We need a job. We need something that we have to like work for. And I think that's it's overlooked often. It's not something that we think is critical. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I think it's one of those things that's like people take for granted.
Yeah. And now, so taking that to its other extreme, right? Like we need something to do. Then you take it to its other extreme and you say, okay, well, I need something to do. But then it becomes almost like busy work, like on the other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
am I just doing this so I don't have to think about the other stuff that's bothering my life? Yeah. Oh, I could see that. Yeah, it's always a double-edged sword. You can take things to an extreme one way or the other. But I do think it's important to need a mission or some sort of a goal, but also it should be a healthy one. Not just like, I collect matchbooks because I like the color or whatever. I don't know. I'm just thinking it's something dumb. But no, I think you could definitely turn something with good intent bad if you're not careful.
Because I think like I've just seen some people, they get distracted, it almost becomes like avoidance.
Oh yeah.
Or a procrastination. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna go work on my martial arts skills and not do the laundry. I don't want to do the laundry.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Laundry's easy. You just throw it in the washing machine.
I know.
Definitely for us, like 3 or so years ago, trying to get the movie funded and made, and I still think back on this.
Yeah.
That it was, how it went was, we would talk to one person. So me and Luke, the director, we had the script and a little bit of money, and we would go talk to somebody and we would be like, hey, like, are you interested in investing in this film? Or do you know anybody that's interested in investing in this film? And that person would sit down and maybe have like an hour-long conversation over coffee with us and be like, oh yeah, and then have you guys tried this? And then they would be like, go talk, have you tried this?
Go talk to Sam over here.
Go talk to Sam over here, and they know people to talk to that have money. And then we'd go talk to Sam, and it'd be the same thing. Oh yeah, well no, I can't help you, but have you tried now talking to Bob over here? And we it became that we were going in circles, and it was just like we thought we were
working. We're working on this movie.
Yeah, we're doing something. But after so many of those times, we're literally running in circles, and we're letting everybody else dictate. Like we were relying on other people's advice so much of like, well, you need to go, like it almost became a means to an end, because advice should only help you, in my opinion, progress to your goal, right? Like, but when advice becomes just the means to an end of itself, then it just becomes like, well, you're just going to people to get advice, and you're never actually doing anything with that advice other than getting more advice. And that's when I just had that knee-jerk reaction, and I just told Luke, I said, we just need to make this movie with what we've got.
Yeah. So because you originally planned your movie for like quite a good sized budget.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like over $500,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what that was what you wanted.
That's what somebody had budgeted. Somebody down in Hollywood who I know, and a very good person that works in the industry.
Like, okay, for you to make this movie, it's going to cost this much money.
Yep.
Okay. And then as you got going, you're just like, we're not going to be able to get that in this time.
No.
So then it's like, we're going to make the movie with what we got.
With what we got. That was essentially what it boiled down to. And then, you need to go talk to this person. Oh, you need to talk to this person. And it was just like, everyone's advice was to go talk to somebody else. And you're just like, okay, like now, and it's just having that realization of just like, so we need to take action.
Yeah. So how many weeks did you spend like talking to different people trying to...
You mean years? I'm serious. Years.
Wow.
Years of going around to people. We wrote the script in 2019. We finished it in we technically finished the first draft in like summer of 2019. So, I mean, we're talking like 6 years ago.
Okay.
And then we officially started looking for funding for it like fall of 2019, and so 2020 through COVID, 2021.
That must have been hard trying to get a hold of people.
2022, yeah. So about 3 years. 3 years we were trying to get funding, and it was just not happening. And that's where I said many podcasts ago, I said, hey, it's, your mentors are good, and you need to have mentors, but at some point your mentor isn't the one stepping out on the mat. You're the one stepping out on that mat. Yeah. And is your mentor going to be there with you on the sidelines cheering you on, or are they even going to be at the tournament? You know what I'm saying? And so all these people that were, people who had given advice, or people I had known for years that were like, oh, you need to do this. And we followed everybody's advice, and it was like nothing was working when we were following other people's advice. Like, I'm talking a major movie, a movie producer that I know that works on major Hollywood films. I'm talking big Hollywood films. Yeah. And we sat down with him, and he's like, well, you guys need to do this. And so we did what he said. Didn't get us anything. And to be fair, that producer said, it's very hard to get things funded. They're like, the funding is always the worst part of getting a film made, is finding the money. And so he said, so even if you do this thing,
there's no guarantee.
But he said a lot of people, this is what they do. This
is the road they go.
This is and so we did that. Nothing, didn't get us anything. And then we did what somebody else said that's in the industry down in LA said, and that didn't get us anything either. So it was like we followed all these other experts' advice and to nothing, to no avail. And so I still stand by that advice. I mean, it'll be interesting 10 years, 20 years down the road if I still to hear what I would say on that advice.
Yeah.
But I still stand by that advice.
So did it just not work at all? Or was it like, oh, it almost worked?
No.
Not at all.
No, I mean, some of the advice definitely, I'm trying to figure out how the right way to say this.
Yeah.
Like it helped, but it didn't, it wasn't the be all end all that fixed. Like,
yeah,
if you put flour and eggs and water and bake it at this temperature, it will rise. Like that it wasn't a recipe to follow that we didn't.
and the thing, like when you're making art, whether you're making paintings or movies or music or whatever, like there's no guarantee.
No.
And that's the thing I think most people fail to realize. Like if you buy enough wood and enough nails and read enough plans, you could build a house.
Yeah.
You could do all of the stuff it takes to make a movie and not make a movie many times over again.
Yeah.
And there's still no guarantee that anyone's going to give you money to go see it. And there's still, you know what I mean? Like if you build a house, it might be ugly. It might be out of square. It might not be level, but somebody might live in it.
Yeah,
there's still a good chance that somebody will live in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no guarantee that your movie's going to make money or people are going to like it, or that's all risk. So yeah, there's really no like foolproof plan to do. Follow these 10 steps and you'll be. I get the ads a lot on social media.
Yeah.
Follow these 10 steps and you'll be a millionaire, or like do this with your business idea to make millions, or 6-figure income in 2 months. Yeah. No, that's not happening.
That's not happening. No. Yeah. So all that to be said, that what I was trying to get at is that just like the going in circles, like, and the having the goal, the mission almost became like, it almost just became like at some point you're just like, okay, like how many times are we going to go in circles?
Yeah.
And it feels like we're doing something. It feels like it, but we're actually at some point
you're not making any progress.
At some point
running circles.
It turned into now we're just running in circles. Yeah. Like I get like going and getting advice from somebody on anything, whether somebody wants to learn how to build that house you're talking about.
Yeah.
You gotta go get advice. You gotta go get training. But at some point, you just gotta start out there and go with the hammer and the nails and the wood
and actually do the thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so,
but it's it's funny because we can fool ourselves though.
Oh,
like some of you are probably going like, "Hey, we're doing the right thing. We're making progress. We're working. We're meeting people. We're rubbing shoulders. We're having this dialogue with these people." And it's safe because we know what we're doing. Like next week, we're going to go meet with Joey over here, and he's going to talk to us about our movie. And then the week after that, we're going to meet with Frank, and he's going to talk to us about the movie. And then Sheila's going to talk to us about the movie. And so like this safe routine of like, oh, we'll just keep doing this thing. And I'm sure somebody at some point just was like, oh, let's just keep doing this because this is working. And somebody else is going, hey, we ain't getting anywhere. We're just spinning the wheels.
We're just spinning the wheels. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with
Dollars to Donuts. That was you.
What? That
you were the one saying we're just spinning our wheels.
I did. I was like, we just got to make this movie, man. Like with what we got, we're spinning our wheels. How much longer are we going to be doing this? We've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like
we gave it the good college try. Let's move on.
I called Luke one time. I was working on another movie in Texas, and I called Luke from Texas. The director and star of the film that I was working on, he picked me up at the airport in Texas. I think it was at Dallas Fort Worth because I flew in, and then I was gonna stay in an Airbnb with him because I was the first assistant director on that film, and he picked me up and we were driving, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, we got this little bit of money raised, and and he's like, well, you just need to do it. He's like that you're in a good spot. He's like, you've got just enough money to make a movie, barely, but it's not like if the movie doesn't succeed, then you're not really out that much. He's like, you're in a really good spot and you just can't see it. And he's like, just do it. Why not just do it? And so it was like that night or another night, like I called Luke from Texas and I was like,
we're moving forward.
We've got to do this. Yeah. And Luke's like, well, all these people are saying this, we've got to, and I was like, Luke, we did that. What that person said, we did. And then he's like, well, this person over here said this. I was like, we did that too. How much longer? And it was just like, that was the defining night, is that night when I just said, we got to do it. And so I have zero regrets about pulling that trigger.
And you shouldn't have any regrets about that, because you made a good movie. And you could have easily went down that road of like, well, we got to keep talking to people.
Yeah.
And you could still be talking about making a movie had you not just pulled the trigger.
And the point is, and that what you just said, and the what we were doing is that spinning the wheels and just going in circles.
Yeah.
That became a stagnation, and then that's when everything just really. It was like, because you're doing the same thing of doing that safe thing of like, well, next week we're going to talk to this person, the week after, and it was safe. But in reality, that was like stagnation. And then
that became the pattern.
But then it's like, then I don't want to say the depression, but just then the project started to feel like the weight of it. And it's just like, this is, like it's weighing you down. Like when you don't have a goal, when you're sitting at home during COVID and you don't have a job to go to, right?
Yeah.
That's when alcoholism and all that.
All the other craps creeps in.
And so like, I'm just saying symbolically, so that the film, like doing that, you just like, okay, what? And then you start thinking, well, why am I doing this? Like, blah, 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 and then just,
at that point, when you're meeting with the investors and stuff, you didn't really have anything tangible yet. Like you had a script, but you hadn't filmed anything.
Yeah. We hadn't filmed anything.
So what you're asking though is a huge risk for that person that's going to give you money.
We're essentially two people, with some
paper going, hey, I want to make this. I have this dream to make this a really funny movie, and it's really good. Okay, have you ever made a movie before? Well, I've worked on films. Okay, like I could just see like the guy as a guy like that could have this check ready to write, like asking these questions like a job interview. Like, okay, all right. You don't look like you're going to take my money and go blow it on drugs. How do I know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. That's a big ask. And I could see where that would be probably the toughest part of the whole thing. I mean, and you're not like asking your mom, you're asking strangers.
Who don't know me,
like I don't know you from Adam, and you're like, okay, sir, I'd like $500,000
to go run off and make my passion project.
And in a year, I'll make a movie. Okay, so my $500,000 is going to let you make a movie. All right, and when do I get my money back?
18 to 24 months.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Wow. Yeah, so that's an interesting, the psychology there is interesting.
I mean, people just kind of look at you and they're just like,
yeah, you're a crazy person.
Whereas like real estate, right? The house, you talk about that person that can build a house. When they build that house, you can walk over to it. You can open the door. It's tangible. You can turn on the faucet.
This has got a living room and a bathroom.
Yeah. Whereas a movie is digital information. It's literally, it fits on a hard drive. And so they'll look at a hard drive and be like, that's my $500,000 right there on that hard drive. Like,
yeah.
So but anyways,
so question, and this is just, I want to dig a little deeper here. So was there any part of you that were like, Spielberg's really interested in this script, like dropping like names or like little white lies. That's not a white lie, but that would be a huge one. But like, you know, were you like, was there any part of you that was like, last week Matt Damon read the script and he loved it, and he really wants this part, but he's already contracted out to film, you know, some other movie. Did you like go down that route?
No,
because like I could see like the devious part of me going like, okay, how are we going to
hype it up?
Get a little interest here.
I mean, we definitely told the truth. Like, oh yes, my friend is an executive producer down in LA at this movie studio.
Okay.
And like,
so you used like your industry contacts that you have.
Whatever we had, just whatever we had to use as a.
Like, who wouldn't? I mean,
you just use
probably part of the whole business is like, because you have to build interest.
Yep.
You have to sell that whole idea.
Yep. You just got to use every ounce of weight and muscle you've got behind that punch to give it, you know, everything, rotating the hips, rotating the foot, rotating, you know, your entire body. Everything we had,
fiber has to go into that.
Was behind that. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's, and I think that's what a lot of people do is they get like whatever somebody's doing, right? Mm-hmm. They get to the point where they, you have a mission, you have a goal of what you want to do. Oh, I want to get that college degree. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to build that house. Oh, I want to learn that instrument. And then then it's almost like you've got to have that mission, but you got to take active steps towards it.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. So have you seen the movie Ford versus Ferrari?
Yes. When it first came out.
Great film. Do you know the story about Carroll Shelby? Not the movie story, the actual story.
What is it?
He's an incredible guy. He was the longest living recipient of 2 organ transplants. He had a heart transplant, and then I think he had a liver transplant like 20 years later. He was the oldest living recipient of a double transplant before he died. But he marketed and designed the Shelby Cobra.
Right, okay.
Okay. It's a little sports car, European body with an American motor and transmission. But the story behind that is super interesting. He first went to Chevrolet and they turned him down. And then he went to Ford and he's like, hey, I've got this car that is made by this company AC. They're going to ship me like X amount of bodies. I just need a motor and I'll put the motors in, put them all together myself, and I'll sell these cars. I just need somebody to supply me with motors and transmissions. He had no contract with the car manufacturer at all. They didn't even know he existed. Well, they knew he existed because he was a fairly famous race car driver. But he hadn't even talked to them about this yet. So he goes to Ford and he's like, hey, give me these motors. If you sell me these motors, I've got a car company that's going to produce me these bodies, and then I'm going to put them together and sell them. And they're like, oh, okay, sure, we can do that. You know, here's your price. And then he goes to the car manufacturer and he's like, hey, Ford's going to sell me X amount of motors and transmissions. I just need a body. They didn't know, like nobody had given him anything yet. And he didn't have any money yet. So he gets this whole deal together. He starts getting cars. And I think he only had enough to produce like bare bones. He was literally buying them as he got money to build them. And then, so he puts them together. He's got the first like dealership semi together, and he's taking these cars around to car enthusiasts, like car shows and hot rods and races and stuff like that. And he's selling them, but he didn't produce enough to like have different models. So he had one model. They were painting the car different colors between the different places he would take the car to. So he'd like be in like Santa Monica one weekend, and he'd have a yellow car. And then they'd like drive it to like Phoenix, Arizona the next weekend, and they'd paint it red in between Santa Monica and wherever I said Phoenix, and then they'd go to the next place and paint it a different color, all to like build interest and stuff. And so I don't know why, but when you were telling me the story about like going around trying to get your movie made, I was like thinking like, okay, how would I make that work? He was kind of shystery, it was a little bit like sneaky.
He
didn't like outright lie, but he kind of told a lie,
I wouldn't want to lie. Like if he said this company over here is gonna, it's one thing to say, I
have interest. This other company's got interest in selling me this stuff. No, he was just like, I've got like 1,500 of them coming next month, and I need these motors and transmissions, and you can produce them for me,
And they were just like, okay,
yeah. At least that's the story I heard. I don't know.
That's good. That's kind of a similar way of like how you got to raise funding. I've heard of some guys doing that. Is you've essentially got to get one person over here interested and one person over here, and then
put them against each other. A little bit.
Yes.
Person A told me they'd give me $5 million to make this movie. You want to come out with $2.5 million?
Yeah, and then you're in, and then you go back to person A and say, person A, well, they gave me $2.5 million, so you sure you want to do 1.5 still? Like, so I've heard of a lot of deals being done like that, like things like that, and that's. As long as I wasn't lying, like I think that's totally a legit way of,
I got a sister-in-law who's really good at that. She sold a used car. She sold a car, and the guy offered her some lowball value that she was like, "Oh, it's worth more than that." And she's this short little thing. She's cute as can be, shortest thing. And she's very, very modest, very, very nice. You wouldn't think like she would be devious like this. It's not like super devious, but it's not like 100% honest, right? So this guy offers her a lowball this lowball deal, and she's like, "Well, I got another guy coming from out of town, and he offered me $1,500. The guy offered her $1,000. He's like, well, he offered me $1,500. So, and he'll be here in about 10, 15 minutes. So if you want this car, it's going to cost you $2,000. And just like totally straight faced, no, that's just the way it is. And so I don't know what happened. The guy bought the car. I don't know what happened. But my brother was sitting there just like slack jawed, like, huh?
This is your sister.
This is my sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to say your name. I don't want to embarrass you. But I could just see where people have been taken doing stuff like that, and people have embellished the truth a little bit, not necessarily lied completely, but just stretched that as thin as could be.
As long as it's still the truth and you're stretching it, and it's just stretching it,
You just got to reach for those different points. But sorry, I totally got sidetracked there completely.
Formless pod.
Yeah, there we go. How did we get from raising money? Well, we got to raising money, but we were at people overreacting to stupid stuff, little stuff. That was a stretch there.
That was a stretch. We are stretching that subject. People overreacting, and then
letting little things bug you.
And then
raising money to make your movie.
So I don't know how we got there. Like that was just somehow there's this thread.
There's a thread there. I'll have to, that's interesting. I'll have to go back and like really examine that in effort to get better. Yeah, but no, I find it incredibly brave that you guys did that. and incredibly, it's so easy to give up at that point. It's so easy to just like run out of steam and think that you're doing all the right things.
Oh, we were at that point.
And like, yeah.
Running out of steam, you're like, we've got to make this, or like.
But at the same time, you're going, we're doing all the right things. We're doing what everyone says we need to be doing. We're just not getting anywhere. You know, maybe the next one would have done it. Who knows? But at that same time, it's like, yeah, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe the next 20 wouldn't. It's like, you know, I always laugh when people are in line buying lotto tickets. It's like, oh, I'm going to buy, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'll split it with you. You know, all the jokes, the cliched jokes they make. And it's like, I know somebody has to win according to the rules, but the chances of that are pretty slim. But there's one. Somebody's got to win. Right?
Very slim chances.
Slim chance, yeah. I don't know. I'd rather take my chances with some other things, I guess. But whatever. Anyway, anything else you got?
No, I think that's it. I think
that was fun.
That was a good one.
That was fun. There was some interesting thoughts. I liked hearing the story about you raising money for the movie.
Spinning the wheels, going in circles.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to have that, like, that dedication without guarantee.
Yeah.
That takes some guts.
That's business. That's business.
That's any business. If you were to open a restaurant or an ice cream shop or a construction company or you name it, there's risk involved. And it's that takes guts. Like, that's, I think, what holds people back more than most realize, is like that whole risk reward thing is scary. I know for me it is.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's definitely scary.
Because why do you think that is? It's scary.
Well, with certain things for sure. Cause I got a lot to risk. You know, I got other people to think about. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, if I was, the risk and reward at 19 is different than the risk and reward at 30.
Yep.
Or at 40. You know, the stuff I do now at 45 versus the stuff I did at 25, a night and day difference. Like, I wouldn't, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I got a mortgage, I got kids, I got things, people that count on me. Mm-hmm. Whereas at 25 or 20 or 19, it was just me that I worried about. And so, like, I can eat top ramen, no problem. I can have that for a week straight because I'm broke, you know. That's not going to be a problem. It's a little more difficult to ask somebody else to do that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I definitely think it's fear of failure.
Yeah. The failure thing is definitely looms over everything for a lot of people, for sure.
We have that,
myself included. Like, I'm no different to that.
We have that as one of our gates that we go through, is the dragon of it's the dragon of fools. We don't want to look like a fool, which is failure. Yeah. And you've got to go through that. You've got to be willing to slip on your butt and fall on your face, and fall on your face and look like a fool. And the people that are like on the sidelines go, "Oh man, look at him!
At that guy." yeah.
And it's like, but they're the ones that didn't take the risk, probably.
Yeah. Sideline. Sitting on the sideline. And it's so easy.
I mean, and it's just not even seeing about the movie or anything, but just anything. It's so easy to give advice to other people on what they should do. But when you're the person in that seat looking for advice, right, or like trying to figure out what to do, and it's so easy to give advice when you don't have skin in the game or you're not in the game yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, we watch MMA fights, right? We're like, oh man, well that guy should have done this, and oh, when he went for the that punch, he should. And it's like, no, like when you're in the ring getting punched, it's a different story.
There was a boxing match I watched like just a couple of weeks ago. It was on Amazon Prime. They had some boxing league there on, and it was pretty good. But this one guy's like completely outclassed. He's just getting the worst end of the deal. And every time he goes to the corner, the coach is like, you're not doing this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And at first, some of the advice was really good. And it pertained to the fight. Yeah, he wasn't swinging. He wasn't hitting. He wasn't moving. He just kind of, but as the fight wore on, it just became apparent that this guy was outclassed in like every aspect of this fight. And I know the coach's job, the cornerman's job, is to keep that like hope alive. But at a certain point, I think he should have just tossed in the towel because it was pretty one-sided, unfortunately.
Oh man!
But he just kept hammering on like, and it didn't change. And I kept thinking about two things. One, that guy is either not watching this fight because it's apparent to everyone. I mean, even my 10-year-old's watching it going, that ain't right. He's not winning, And then the other thing was something that Sensei Blue talked about a while back. And it was how if something doesn't work, change one thing. And if that doesn't work, change one thing. Until eventually, like just change one little detail. Change something. And you'll make some progress, or change it again. Keep changing stuff. Keep. And the guy, like I wanted that coach to, like, you need to give him something else. You need to give him some other, obviously, because it was just like a broken record for like 5 or 6 rounds. Same thing. Same thing. Finally, near the end, he started like changing up some of the tactics and trying to give him some different stuff. But I think by that point, it was like too late. It was like a 12-round fight, 14-round fight or something like that. But it was like too far in the hole.
Did the guy, he didn't get knocked out, did he?
No, it went the distance and he lost in a decision.
Oh man.
But it was,
but that's in itself a victory. I mean, if he was outclassed bad.
He was very, very durable. He could withstand the barrage, but the punch count was like, I want to say it was like 200 and something to like 40. Like the sheer volume of punches was just like off the chart. And like, I don't know. Like I was trying to figure out, like, did he hurt his hands? What happened? Did something happen to make this guy? He was just outclassed, I think. It just out of his element. It just wasn't working. But anyway,
so change one thing.
The thing was, like, if you find yourself in a situation where things aren't working, and I'm probably butchering this, and if Sensei Blue, if you do hear this, you're welcome to come on and correct me. But he just said, change one thing in the middle of everything else going on, and you can't think of what to do. Just change one thing, and just keep, do that until something works, and then keep going. And then if you run into another problem later, change one thing.
Rather than throwing everything out.
Yeah. Rather than like, okay, we're going to start from scratch. Well, you don't have time to start from scratch when you're getting punched in the face. Right? So if I'm getting outclassed, I just need to change one idea, one thought, one thing, change one thing and see if that works. I'm talking with my hands too much. I'm hitting the mic. See if that works. And then, okay, yay, it worked, or no, it didn't. Like, let's go back to that. Change another thing. Keep going. Change another thing. Hey, that worked. Great. Keep going.
Boom.
Yeah. So, what do you think? We got an hour in.
I think that's
Plenty
it.
of time.
Like, change one thing.
Change one thing. Here we go. We're going to change it. Hey, friends, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. 102 episodes down, 100 more to go for sure. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, or X. Email us at the Formless Pod. All of those channels or social media accounts can be found under Formless Pod. We have a website called formlesspod.com where you can buy shirts, hats, t-shirts, sweaters, jackets, book bags, pillows, coffee mugs, stickers, and anything else I'm sure you can think of. Anything else you want to add?
That's it. You nailed it.
Right on. Till next time.